Is this abusive?
Scott, have you ever gotten an email from someone that said, you better do this or else you're going to resign?
Yeah, it's called having a boss in the private sector.
And that, I'm sorry.
They don't care about it, and they don't care about it while wearing big fat crosses around their necks.
Yes.
Well, you know what?
No, and I don't care.
Welcome, viewer. Dronetek's having issues with his microphone. So today I'll be guiding you through 3 wonderful examples of why the legacy media is currently imploding. Starting with the miserable hags of The View, who take it upon themselves to tell Christians what they should believe in order to be real Christians.
But you know what the most ironic thing is? They don't care about it, and they don't care about it while wearing big fat crosses around their necks.
Yes.
Well,
You know what? I think we always have to remember that all things that make people uncomfortable would be called woke.
yeah.
Everything. There have not been changes made in this country that were made without people being woke. We had to wake up and see that there's nothing wrong with who you want to love as long as you keep me in mind when I say, this is who I love. All of these things were challenged by people who said, oh, maybe they didn't say you're too woke, but they used whatever the hip word of the time was. This has always been, it will always be. This is what change does. It makes people uncomfortable. It scares people, makes people think that they are losing their place. You're not losing your place.
No.
What your place is telling you is that there are more people out for this gig, and you better be better than you were.
Yes.
It's not...
Equality can feel like oppression to those that have always been at the top of the ladder.
Regardless of where you fit, that fear doesn't work. It doesn't work for any of us. It doesn't work for any of us because it allows too many of us to be smushed by it. And if you're woke, good. You know, good. It'll make you a better person.
No.
Wow. Can you even imagine these people accosting Muslims or Jewish people for wearing yarmulkes? Much less accusing them of being fake Muslims or Jews for not adopting their extreme political ideology. Why would Christians follow an ideology that is inherently anti-human and creates a system where so-called people of color are superior to undesirable whites? Being woke leads to things like DEI that discriminate against people based on intrinsic qualities. It's anti-Christian and will turn you into a very confused bad person. Also, let's just establish the fact that Christians in America are among the most giving of their blood, money, and time to charity. In fact, their levels of charity dwarfs their liberal counterparts. Now moving on to something that I'm sure all of us are celebrating: the demise of Reid's show.
Shout out to our amazing readers, our audience. I just love running into y'all in the airport, on these streets, and on social media. I could not love or appreciate you more. Thank you, thank you, thank you for holding us down. Almost 5 years, we are a toddler, and we out in these streets, in this world, and we are not gonna stop. That is tonight's Read Out. Also on TikTok and Facebook at Joy Reid Official. Inside with Jen Psaki starts now.
My show had value, and that, I'm sorry, that what I was doing had value. And in the end, I'm sorry, I try not to cry on TV.
The reason Joy Reid lost her show is obvious, and I'm going to go over that here in just a second. But first, let's take a look back at why she'll be podcasting from her basement from now on.
The race lady. Why would they call me that? Is this really about me fixating on race? Or is it about you fixating on race?
No, it's you.
Donald Trump wants to never let black and brown folk up off the mat. Evident what they mean by DEI, right? Why not just say what you mean? You can't stand black people. We get it. You've been heard. Are you committed to naming a black woman as your vice presidential running mate? They wanted to go after the brown people too, because of course that is their other target.
You feel joy? Say joy.
It's not fashionable to be openly racist anymore in America, unlike what they call the good old days. Only the white Christian men may have the things. So you own everything that happens to your mixed status families and to your wives, sisters, and abuelas.
Joy.
If you are black plus anything else, you are black. Violent white nationalism that today threatens our national security.
Make a joyful noise.
Don't send any of those invites to any black women you know.
We do have a fascist groundswell in parts of this country, mainly among white men, let's be clear.
Joy Reid didn't lose her show because of a racist conspiracy like Rachel Maddow suggested. She lost it because she's a black supremacist, and most MSNBC viewers aren't. As you can see from these ratings, nobody was watching. Now moving on to what I think is the most entertaining clip of the day. It's yet another entertaining example of CNN's Scott Jennings completely nuking a stacked panel of imbeciles. Now they're upset that public servants have to explain what it is they actually do to get our tax dollars.
Abusive of federal workers, and it is just plain wrong.
And it's random. It's abusive.
Random.
It's abusive to
Yes,
get an email?
I do. I do think
It's
that
abusive
I
to
think
get
the
a
way that
threatening
they
email.
are. Yeah, I
Why?
think the way that
Why?
they are treating them.
Why?
Why?
How is this abusive?
Scott, have you
I
ever
saw-
gotten an
I
email
saw-
from someone that said, you
Yeah, I
better
will-
do this or else you're going to resign?
Yeah, it's
From
called
someone-
having a
from
boss in the
someone
private
who's not
sector.
from someone who's not your boss?
The White House is every federal worker's boss. That's number one.
Elon
Number
Musk
two,
is not anybody's
number
boss. It's
two-
not even our
Number
legal
two-
department.
Scott, how is Elon going to evaluate? I mean, how is he going to evaluate the work of thousands of federal employees when he has no idea what
He's
they do?
not. The test was, are you even paying attention to your email? Are you
Well,
even
you
at
know,
your
some
terminal?
federal workers, he sent it on a weekend. Some federal workers do not have access to their emails on the weekends. They just don't.
Did they go to work today? I mean, look, the amount of outrage, melting down, and sort of outpouring of emotion over this ought to tell you everything you need to know. We had a lady on CNN today, a supposed federal worker, who said she was infuriated by getting this email. She had time to go on CNN, but she didn't have time to send a 30-second email saying, well, here's what I was working on last week. This is what people in the private sector have come to hate about how they view the public sector.
Personally, I like the university. They gave us money and facilities. We didn't have to produce anything. You've never been out of college. You don't know what it's like out there. I've worked in the private sector. They expect results.
It is not at all unusual for somebody working in the private sector to be asked what it is they do with their job. It's very interesting these public servants find time to complain, but not explain what they do at their jobs. Alright folks, what do you all think about these 3 clips? Let me know in the comments. And if you're still here, might as well hit that like button and subscribe.